All right, let's get started on the next lesson. So what is an asymptote? Okay, an asymptote, and make sure you say it right, asymptote is just an imaginary line that the graph approaches but it never crosses. It gets as close as it can to that line, but it will never actually touch that value, that x or y value, okay? So if you look at the picture that we have here, this line that's going across here is an asymptote. And if you look at the graph, it's getting close to it, but it's never going to touch it, okay? Because numbers are infinite. There are three kinds of asymptotes. There's vertical, horizontal, and slant. And we're actually just going to look at vertical today, all right? So vertical asymptotes, they are vertical lines on the graph that are at the x value. So they will never touch that x value. You're going to find the vertical asymptote by looking at the denominator. But remember, we need to factor first. Okay, always factor first. But we're going to find the value that we could plug in to the denominator to make it 0. All right? That's why we are solving the denominator. We want the denominator to be set equal to 0. All right. So if I look at this one, 3x plus 1 cannot be factored, and x minus 3 cannot be factored. So we're going to go ahead and set x minus 3 equal to 0. And solve. So where x is equal to 3, we have a vertical asymptote. And you're going to see me abbreviate it this way. All right? So let's try this. We cannot factor this first one. So we're going to set the bottom equal to 0. And we're going to solve. So x is equal to negative 6. Okay? We look at the second one. We can factor by taking out a 4. Okay? Now we're going to take and set that equal to 0. There's nothing we can cancel out. So x plus 2 is equal to 0. Solve it out. And there you go. All right, let's look at the bottom ones. We can factor out of 3. Nothing cancels. Let me rewrite this so you don't think that's a negative x. There we go. Nothing cancels, so we're going to set x minus 4 equal to 0. And we're going to solve. So where x is equal to 4, we have a vertical asymptote. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. We could take out a 2. So we're left with x squared minus 16. We can still factor the x squared minus 16. That is x plus 4, x minus 4. Now we're going to set those equal to 0. X plus 4 is equal to 0. Solve. Then we're going to do the x minus 4. And we're going to solve. And there's our answers. Okay? Now, when does the graph have a hole and not an asymptote? So this is where that factoring comes in. Okay? So let's factor the top. The x method, you would get x plus 4, x plus 3. All right, on the bottom, that's a difference of squares, so x plus 4, x minus 4. Now we need to look and see if anything cancels. This is why we did this in the very beginning. If I look at this, the x plus 4's cancel. So we would have a hole where x plus 4 is. We would want to set that equal to 0 as well. So x plus 4 is equal equal to 0. So if x is equal to -4, we have a whole. Now we're setting the denominator equal to 0. So what is left is going to be our vertical asymptote. So if we look at the denominator, all we have left is the x minus 4. So we'll set it equal to 0 and solve. And where x is 4, that is our vertical asymptote. So what you need to know is a whole is where something cancels. And you'll do just like anything else, you'll set it equal to 0 and solve. The bottom, or here, let me just put a denominator. Remaining is your vertical asymptote. One other thing, and this is why I was having you do it earlier, your numerator remaining is your x-intercept. So in this case, your x-intercept would be a -3. Okay? All right. So let's look at this. Let's factor. This becomes x plus 9, x minus 9. Now, what cancels? The x plus 9, so we have a whole. 4x plus 9 is equal to 0. So that means x is equal to -9. There's a whole. For a vertical asymptote, it's what's left over. So we have a vertical asymptote where x minus 9 is equal to 0. We solve that out. X is equal to 9. All right, the next one. Let's go ahead and factor. 2x minus 10 on top. On the bottom, that's a difference of squares, so x plus 10, x minus 10. So what cancels? The x minus 10, so there's a whole. Where x minus 10 is equal to 0, so x is equal to 10. There's a vertical asymptote of what's left, where x plus 10 is equal to 0. So where x is -10. Okay? The next one, we'll factor this. X minus 12, x plus 2. What cancels? The x minus 12. So a whole. X minus 12 is equal to 0, where x is 12. And then we have a vertical asymptote, where x plus 2 is equal to 0, so where x is -2. All right, I want you to pause the video and try the last one and see if you get it. I'm going to erase mine because you can pause the video and get what you need to get down. But I'm going to erase so I have room for this last one. All right, so we factor. On the top we get 3 and then x minus 1. And then x minus 3. Sorry, that's 4, not 3. And then x minus minus 1. What cancels? The x minus 1. So we have a whole where x minus 1 equals 0, so that would be where x is equal to 1. And you don't know how to solve, so that's why I'm just going through it really quickly. We have a vertical asymptote where x minus 4 is equal to 0, so where x is 4. All right, so that's the first set of asymptotes. So I want you to practice vertical first, and then we'll look at horizontal.